Hey guys, how are you doing? This is Thieves 101 hosted by myself, James, and this week we have a lot to catch up on. 100 Thieves has been a part of Valorant, Marvel Rivals, League of Legends, Call of Duty, new esports signings. There's so much to catch up on, so let's hop right into it. Just a heads up, if you want to skip to any esport that you are more interested in than any other, there will be timestamps in the description or the comments below. Last week, the shock result versus Shopify Rebellion obviously was the loss, but this week we recover with a solid 2-0 versus DSG. We took care of DSG in two sub 30-minute games. The games were really fun to watch, but also it was DSG. Honestly, first game, they threw the whole game at the first dragon fight. We got a 4K, and after that, it was really easy to keep them in check. 100 Thieves consistently hands-checked them, and Quid this game just absolutely took over. They kept trying these weird engages, but at one point Quid was weaving in and out of Talia walls and just 1v1ing Abadaga with the whole team there. So I feel like in a certain sense DSG never had a chance. Game 2 on the other hand, River really tried level 1 to throw the game. And these exact level 1 throws are what worry me when we go up against the teams like Fly, C9 or TL. Teams like that will take the opportunity to punish us for level 1 ints like that. I do think the narrative about 100 Thieves is true. Against bottom 4 teams, we really easily can hands check them. Our team has one of the highest mechanical potentials of the league. But when we go up against a team like FlyQuest, who don't only have mechanical potential, but they also know a lot about the game, we end up crumbling midway through. I think it says a lot about the LTA North playoff format that SR with a 39% win rate can get into winner's bracket, while 100 Thieves with a 60-something% win rate is in lower bracket. But at the end of the day, we have to win our must-win games. For us to be able to make it to the international tournament, MSI, we need to win 5 best of 5s in a row. Do I think it's possible? No, honestly. But we should just take it game by game. We are going to be playing the loser of FlyQuest against Shopify Rebellion. I think we all know what the result of that game is going to be. So we are going to be preparing for Shopify Rebellion and get that revenge that we should have won in the first place. But after that, we are going to actually have to play a real team unless Dignitas somehow brings out a surprise win. This next week, we have a week off. Let's take the time to scrim some higher end teams and make sure that we are taking our practice seriously and that we are ready for this playoff run. I'm really rooting for this team. I think we have a huge mechanical potential, but if we don't get our discipline together, I don't think this roster has a chance to do anything more than they are doing right now, which is a solid 4th, 3rd place. My predictions for the playoffs is going to be FlyQuest beating Shopify Rebellion and Cloud9 beating Team Liquid. Alright, next one, Call of Duty. This week has been amazing for 100 Thieves. Whether it's Valorant, Marvel Rivals, Call of Duty, or League of Legends, we have brought home multiple wins in multiple titles. Most of our wins have been dominant as well, so let's go through them all. With Call of Duty, there was 2 dominant 3-0s. My last week's predictions were 3-1 and 3-2. I have been proven wrong with 2 solid 3-0s. In our preview last week, we looked at Boston, who have been slumping during this stage. They continue to slump against our team where they got absolutely demolished. We started off our hardpoint 135-17. I think it's super interesting how Boston Breach brought it back and they brought it into a kill neutral game, yet we were still winning by 50 points. Envoy was the MVP of the 3 maps, and he was definitely popping up map 1. We thought Boston had a chance in S&D, but it was a solid 6-1 to absolutely sweep them off the map. And Control, as always, is going to be a 3-0. Statistically speaking, Cammy and Awakening had a horrible series, but Cammy especially with a .49. He had 27 kills in the series, and that is truly unfortunate. Moving on against Cloud9 New York, they definitely gave us a harder fight. Once again, more of a kill neutral hardpoint, with Crimp going off, but Capsidal could not keep up. I'm really happy that Crimp is doing well on Cloud9, and I hope that next year he has a better team. They definitely choked the Search and Destroy though, with around 11 defuse with 4 men alive. That should never happen. Control is 3-0 as always, but honestly, at the end of every round, I was kind of nervous. I don't know what it is about this LA Thieves team, but they always clutch up at the end of Controls. Hydra and Scrap both had 1.4s in this series, which is absolutely amazing. Scrap has been consistently bringing these 1.4s throughout this stage. Let's hope it translates into the major. Speaking about the major, this was the last online qualifier of the season. We transition into DreamHack Major 4. Looking at the bracket, our side of the bracket is definitely way easier than the bottom side, although our first game against Vancouver Surge will be a difficult one. Vancouver Surge have made 2 grand finals. One of them were against us and we managed to beat them. They are always a dark horse and they always pose a threat. So I don't think we should take them easily, but I do think we have the edge over them. After that, I predict a win, so we will play against either Miami or Rocker. I definitely predict Miami as the winner of that game. Miami have beat us this qualifier series, but overall we are 5-1 against them this season, and 4 of those were on LAN. So I would hope for a confident march, at least until winners finals, where we will face either Optic Texas, Toronto Ultra, or Atlanta FaZe. The only 2 teams I'm afraid of is Atlanta FaZe and Toronto, and especially Atlanta FaZe. If we want to win this tournament and if we want to win champs, we are going to have to figure out how to win against FaZe. This season we have been 1-5 against FaZe. Will it be this weekend that we figure out how to beat them? I don't know, but next week we will either celebrate or mourn the loss. Valorant EWC Qualifiers. Somehow I missed last week that there is going to be EWC qualifiers both this week and next week. I think partially the reason I missed it is because it's not streamed anywhere, which is so unfortunate because we already don't have any Valorant to watch, especially if you're a 100 Thieves fan. In the quarterfinals, we faced Furia, which is honestly an easy matchup. It was an easy 13-7 and then 13-2 victory. After that, we faced NRG, who have been recently blowing up their roster. We already beat them in playoffs, which they barely made it to playoffs. So I think we should be beating them every single time we play. This one was a bit closer, them winning map 1, but then we won map 2 and map 3. Then for our first real challenge, Cloud9, who made it to playoffs in a solid 3-2 position. But after that, they bombed out of playoffs with 2 2-0s, one against Sentinels and one against EG, which to be fair, both of them finished in the top 4 at the end of the season. But they were also no match for us with an easy 2-0. So all in all, this weekend, we won 6 maps and only lost 1. Although next weekend will definitely be harder. More importantly, we need to win 2 series to get to EWC next weekend. The first one, we are going to be playing against EG. Derek, who has been formerly of 100 Thieves, is on that team, and also Ye, who is a former world champion. But looking at their recent match history, they haven't won against anyone who I would consider a contender to make it to an international event. They seem like that solid middle tier team that beats everybody under them, but loses to everybody above them. I would hope for a solid 2-0 statement victory against EG, and then we will more than likely face MIBR. MIBR, on the other side of the bracket, will be playing the winner of C9 and NRG. We have already beaten both of those teams, and I think MIBR beats both of those teams. We are 1-1 against MIBR this year. We beat them once in kickoff, but then they beat us in stage 1. Personally, I think this is going to be a make or break moment for this Valorant roster. With rumors of EU's exit already looming, I think if we don't make it to EWC, this roster doesn't have a future together. Which to me would be extremely sad because I absolutely love this team. Asuna has been a part of this team for 4 years, Boostio just brings the vibes, and I am just a huge fan of those 5 people together. So I am rooting for this team to make it to EWC and fulfill their true potential. Another thing I missed last week is that the Marvel Rivals team is back in action. Honestly, I find it a little bit more difficult to follow the Marvel Rivals team since oftentimes it is just not announced when they are playing. I wanted to do a little recap on our Marvel Rivals team just so we have a little context on where they are today. They started off being unquestionably the strongest team in NA. They were the uncontested best team in the first couple of Marvel Fight Nights and they won the first Invitational. But then in the Season 1 tournament, they were going so strong all the way until the Winners Finals and the Grand Finals, where they lost 7-0 in total to Sentinels. Then the crumble started. They lost to Shikigami in Fight Night 6. Then they got smacked again 3-0 against Sentinels in Fight Night 7. While these Fight Nights aren't a big deal, I feel like they really show us the power rankings of the Marvel Rivals world. We haven't been at the last couple of Marvel Fight Nights, but we came back to prove that we are still at the top echelon of Marvel Rival teams, beating Envy 3-2 and then beating Shroud X 3-2. And this is where the Marvel Rivals portion would have ended. But I figured out today, as I was doing my research, that the Shroud Gauntlet has been played, which in my opinion has shaken up the power rankings of the Marvel Rival world. Envy has emerged victorious, and 100 Thieves has came in a close second. 100 Thieves has beaten Envy twice this week, but not when it really mattered. But Envy, on the other hand, has beaten FlyQuest and Sentinels. 100 Thieves got all the way to the Grand Finals without actually having to face Sentinels. So in my opinion, at this moment, Envy seems to be the strongest NA team in Marvel Rivals, closely followed by 100 Thieves and Sentinels, while FlyQuest emerges 4th. We'll catch up with the Marvel Rivals team next week. As for the rest of the events around the org, 100 Thieves seems to be preparing for EWC. They have recently announced... I feel like this is becoming a gag. They have recently announced Shine as their first player in a fighting game. And close after, they have announced their TFT team. I question why we are entering so many esports when we seem to be struggling to keep our spot in League of Legends. I'll be honest, I think it's a little bit more difficult to be passionately following TFT rather than League of Legends. But I'm happy for the players, and I'm also happy for the OP.GG sponsorship. I've also been really happy with the content this week. The LAT podcast was absolutely fire, especially with the new corduroy sponsorship. That intro was absolutely hilarious. And that will basically be it from me this week. We have an amazing weekend coming up with Valorant, League of Legends, Call of Duty, huge tournaments, DreamHack, LANs. I am super excited about these next couple of weeks. They will definitely make or break our season as a 100 Thieves fan. With Call of Duty and their DreamHack tournament, will they be able to bring home another chip? The Valorant team, if they can make it to EWC, that allows us to watch way more Valorant this year and also hopefully to keep the roster together. While the League of Legends team isn't playing, I hope they take the time to prepare for the playoffs. Apex Legends will be continuing their regular season, and we'll see what Marvel Rivals has for us. And with that, thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Thieves 101. Comment down below anything that you think about this episode. Comment down any predictions or previews that you have. And subscribe if you enjoyed the episode. Thank you so much for watching. I've been James. Goodbye.